So I've got Johan Loubser here of the Dele Graaf estate, and he brought along some of their best wines. Johan, thanks for joining me.
Indeed, well, it's a great pleasure to be here. I'm delighted.
Great. So tell us about your wines, and I want to really taste it with a dish.
You know, we like to call ourselves a luxury wine and hospitality destination. We're based up at the top of the Helsworth to Pass, as you know. We have 2 restaurants on the property. So, you know, pairing food and wine is something that we do on a very regular basis. What I brought along tonight is our coastal cuvee, a Sauvignon Blanc, which has its origins in 3 vineyards. We like to refer to it as a multi-regional blend. The vineyards are located in Darling, Durbanville and Stellenbosch. It's an award-winning Sauvignon Blanc. What I particularly like about the wine is that it has good tropical fruit characteristics, but it has a nice minerality to it. So I think it would be particularly well suited to the dish we have in front of us.
So tell me about the awards. I mean, so it's one that's...
this particular Sauvignon Blanc, which we refer to as the Dele Graaf Coastal Cuvée Sauvignon Blanc, has twice won the Old Mutual Trophy for the best Sauvignon Blanc of the show. The Old Mutual Trophy wine show can be considered the leading wine competition in the country. And it's the only Sauvignon Blanc that has ever won the trophy twice. So it does put it in sort of hallowed company.
Has that been consecutive years?
No, the first vintage that won the trophy was in 2010, and the more recent trophy winner was the 2013 vintage. Tonight we are drinking the 2014 vintage.
I love this Sauvignon Blanc, nice and fresh. And I've been to your restaurant up there, and this is the type of wine you want to drink when you sit up there and admiring the view and enjoying the food, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. Look, it's wonderful fruit to the wine. The fruit is obviously very prominent, but it has a good acidity, and as I mentioned earlier, that it has a nice sort of underlying minerality to it, which is particularly good when pairing it with rich foods and spicy food, like the bouillabaisse we have in front of us.
I mean, I used quite a bit of butter in this bouillabaisse. And there's obviously the cayenne pepper in there, and I think it worked beautifully with the Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, your bouillabaisse is so good, I think I'm going to eat it all.
Go ahead. Johan, so tell us a bit more about the estates. I mean, so yes, you've got 2 restaurants on the estate. You're producing some award-winning wines. Tell us about all the varietals that you're doing currently.
The varietals that we have on the property are the 5 Bordeaux varietals: Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Malbec, and Merlot, of course. We do a wonderful Bordeaux blend named Botmaskop, after the mountain peak on which the estate is located, and it too has twice recently won the Old Mutual Trophy for the best red wine of the show. Other varietals that we grow on the property are Chardonnay, a lot of Chardonnay. The property isn't particularly well suited to Chardonnay, and we also produce a very nice Chenin, which we will be trying in a moment.
Well, and I'm a big Chenin fan, so I can't wait.
Okay.
Even though I think I've had vintages from... Which vintage is that? 2013.
This is the 2013 vintage. This is from very old bush wine. The average age of the vines from which the Chenin comes is around 40 years of age. The vines are all grown in the Swartland. Very low-yielding vineyards, 2 or 3 bunches per vine. And this Chenin is fermented in 400-litre French oak barrels. We don't encourage any malolactic fermentation. We don't do buttonnage. We try and keep the winemaking process as gentle as possible. And after about 12 to 14 months in the oak, we bottle the wine and let it then bottle age for about 6 months before we release it to the public.
So Swartland is becoming quite well known for growing excellent vines, isn't it?
Indeed, and particularly Shannon. You know, it has all these wonderful old Shannon vineyards, which of course were grown in the old days to produce grapes for the distillation of brandy. These days, ironically, they've become very sought after for the purposes of making very fine Shannon.
But let's talk more about the estate. You know, is there a specific philosophy when it comes to the winemaking process?
You know, we employ two highly qualified viticulturists because we believe that the winemaking process starts in the vineyard. So we devote a huge amount of time to the process of viticulture, managing the vineyards meticulously so that we only take in the finest fruit, and in the process, you know, we pursue fine winemaking with minimal intervention in the winemaking process. We have a very talented winemaker, of course, but without our talented viticulturists and of course meticulously managed vineyards, we wouldn't be able to make wines of this quality.
That's amazing. That's what you hear more and more. Eh? I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's about the terroir. You need all the expertise to be able to make a good wine.
Indeed, indeed. People don't realize how much, you know, effort and technical expertise is required these days. Not only technical, but academic expertise and academic knowledge is required to make fine wine. It's a complex and expensive process.
Can you imagine? So what else happens on the estate? I mean,
Well, we have a wonderful boutique hotel. We have 12 lodges, and what's interesting about it is that each lodge has its own pool and has its own character. We're very fortunate in as much as that it attracts the rich and famous. So we have famous people visiting us from time to time.
Tell us. You know, give us some names.
Well, who shall I say? One of the I'm sure he wouldn't mind telling us, but Bono and his family have recently been there. They loved the property. They really enjoyed the privacy that they were afforded. And of course, Bono loves his red wine, you know, so he was in the right place. But a wonderful man and a wonderful family, so we enjoyed having them there. There've been others also equally famous, but one's got to be a little reticent when you talk about your visitors.
Johan, this has been really amazing and fascinating to hear about the estate. Really, and thanks for bringing these excellent wines. And I hope you've enjoyed the dish. Tell me what you've thought. And I mean,
well, I love the dish. I love the spiciness. You know, if we weren't in the public eye, I'd probably have gobbled it all up by now. But my personal preference is that I prefer the Shannon with the wine. It's contrary to what I would have thought initially, but the sweet fruit in the Shannon somehow seems to complement the dish more than the Sauvignon Blanc. Although that too I think works with the dish.
Just shows you how palates differ, because I prefer the Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, there you go.
No, really, I think, well, it can go either way, but beautiful wines. Congratulations on, I mean, winning the awards, and also doing so fantastically well at Dele. Beautiful estate, and I know it's one of those jewels in the crown, to be honest, for me. I'll always enjoy going there, and I'm looking forward to my next visit. But thanks for joining us, and
it's been a pleasure. I've certainly enjoyed tasting the food for which you've become very famous, and thank you for giving us this opportunity, and best of luck with the program and with your future endeavors.
Thanks, Johan.
Thank you.